Guys, can we ask you to start moving through and grab a seat, please? Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, can we ask you to start coming through and grab a seat, please? Thank you. Tammy, it's not the time to be running.
Hello, hello, hello. Hi, everybody. Please, the guys who are still standing out, please come in. Oh, look at the finalists. Oh, now that's a walk-in. Wow, I'm impressed. It's like you timed that just perfectly. Right? Welcome, guys. Yeah, so everybody, if you don't mind, take your seat. Thank you so much. So we begin. Hello, everybody. My name is Miles Kupek. I'm your host for this afternoon. What an exciting afternoon it's going to be. I'm super excited to be sharing with you who the finalists are and ultimately the winner of the 38th Corobrik Student Architect Award. So, congratulations, guys. Whoa, that's super amazing. I did mention that it's the 38th one, and Peter has been at all 38 when we were chatting. 38. He was there from day one, I guess. The man is made of bricks. So, it is an amazing event, and Corobrik, as I've said, has been there from day one, and I think to have a stakeholder, a partner who sees the vision and sticks it through thick and thin for 38 years, I think that is immensely commendable, and I would appreciate it if you join me in applauding Corobrik for their hard efforts. Thank you. We also have other amazing stakeholders, the universities. You know, this doesn't happen if the universities aren't putting out the talent that the judges judged, and some of which you're going to meet today. So I would also like us to give a round of applause to the universities and stakeholders. And of course, another important stakeholder is family. You know, it takes a village, literally, to get these guys here and ladies here. So I would like us to also give a round of applause to the families that supported you through this long, arduous journey. So, yep, again. And online, we are joined by other family members, friends, universities. Everybody's watching, so we do have an online audience. So from the online people, please send up some hearts, some, the emojis, and let's get it going and keep the show alive. So, I'm seeing them from here. Super cool. Exciting. So, guys, without further ado, you're probably wondering who this guy is on stage, right? I mean, they could have invited an amazing award-winning architect to come and do today. Instead, you get me. So who is me? Okay, so my name is Miles Kupeka. Like I've said earlier, I'm actually an entrepreneur now, but I've got an interesting backstory. I think perhaps maybe why they invited me. I'm a systems engineer by training. I worked for Microsoft for about a decade, traveled the world, got paid really, really well. But every time I got back home, guys, in Diepkloof Extension, my mom calls it Diepkloof Expensive, I would always see this ad about this character called Vuyo. Vuyo was a big, big dreamer. I'm not sure how many of you remember that ad. He used to sell Boerewors rolls. It was a Hansa advert. So Vuyo sold Boerewors rolls and grew this thing from a side hustle on the side of the roll, selling Boerewors rolls, to this empire where he ended up having an aeroplane called Air Force One, and he had a yacht. It was a very inspirational story, just totally creative, right? And that's the importance of creativity. It was just an ad agency that created this character. So I was convinced that this Vuyo guy was a real dude. Like, I was sure that Vuyo existed. So I promptly Googled to discover there was no Vuyo. Totally a fictitious character dreamt up by this advertising agency in Cape Town. So I promptly trademarked the word Vuyo, and I became Vuyo from that day on. I quit my high-paying job to go sell Boerewors rolls at the local 4S farmers market. I remember telling my mom that I'm leaving this high-paying job to go sell Wors rolls. She was like, "Oh, Mtanami, what about medical aid and a pension?" She really doesn't sound like that. But an important lesson I'd learned there is that a lot of people don't do epic stuff because of fear. And you're going to see this in your journey. And often it's not even your own fear. It's other people's fear, your parents. And that fear has got a lot of weight because obviously you care about what they think, right? So, and I found that is one of the impeding things from people going out and doing epic things. The other reason is people don't know how to do anything. So, people don't know how to start anything. You've studied all the way to the level you are at university. You might go on to doctorate level, but there's never a class. I studied up to master's level. I don't remember attending a class called Start 101. Doesn't exist, right? People just assume you know how to figure it out, right? So now I had trademarked this brand, worked for corporate, never started a business. I didn't know how. The trick was, don't overthink it, right? I literally went to the 4S Farmers Market. We rocked up on that day. I bought a grill from Game in that morning. My first executive decision, I remember it like it was yesterday. I removed the legs from the grill because I didn't want to have my back to my customers. A lesson I'd learned at Microsoft, always have your customers front and center. So first executive decision, remove the legs, and I put the grill on the table only to realize that the table is made out of wood. That's not going to work. We're cooking with gas. This is not rocket science, right? So we found, those concrete slabs, those things you walk on, you find them at the market. I put the concrete slab between the grill and the table, and we start cooking, and we're pumping. Week number 4, I was working with a guy called Peter. Peter turns around to me, says, Miles, we're on fire. I go, I know, look at the crowd. We're running a crowd 20, 30 deep. He goes, no, we're on fire. Turns out he forgot to put the concrete slab between the grill and the table. Table caught alight. It was creating this massive flame. It was bellowing, melting the shade netting above us that was made out of plastic. So the flames were bellowing. And I looked down on the floor. I realized the floor is made out of wood chips. It was lit, as the young people would say. I've subsequently studied as a chef, and one of the things you learn at culinary school is that things don't always go according to plan. But you just got to be comfortable with it. If you want to make an omelet, you got to crack some eggs. So one thing I wish you guys is that in your journey is remembering that sometimes failure is actually a way of the world to course correcting you to the path you should be going on. I've learned more from failure than successes. In fact, I've rebranded. I call it R&D. So all the stuff that didn't work, it's my R&D stuff, right? And I sincerely hope you take that to heart. And I'll make you one other quick example as to why that matters. Did you know that a child, when they learn to walk, they fall on average 17 times an hour? But a child doesn't go, maybe this walking thing is not for me. I've mastered crawling. It's efficient. It gets me from here to there. They keep on standing up. They stand up. But for whatever reason, I think schooling has got a lot to do with that. But for whatever reason, we've made failure a thing that inhibits people from doing cool stuff. But if you reframe that and say it's par for the course, see what I did there, and you take it as a learning, I can promise you the journey is going to be amazing. And to close off, I sold my Vuyo's business in 2019, and I semi-retired. It was super cool. I dodged COVID. I'm the guy who sold a food business. We had grown restaurants and stuff by then and all of that. It was super cool. What a journey. And I sold it in 2019, and I really didn't want to be honest with you. I was half pregnant about it, but the money looked good. And then I sold it, and I was like, what do I do now? And everywhere I went, hey, Vuyo, but I'm not Vuyo anymore. So that had issues. So it turned out I was a bit depressed, and I didn't know it. Then I happened to watch a movie called Black Panther. And in the movie, they had this city called Wakanda, right? I'm not sure if you've guys seen the movie. And in the city Wakanda, all the Avengers, the superheroes were coming to Wakanda to steal our technology. And it was the first time I'd seen Africa portrayed on such a massive positive note on such a global stage, right? And I left the movie house and I promptly trademarked the word Wakanda. Hey, Vuyo's worked out great, so why not rinse, repeat, recycle? Another important lesson there. And then about a year or so later, I get a call from Disney, who owns Marvel Studios. They were working on sequel of Black Panther. It was going to be entitled Wakanda Forever. And they were in post-production when they discovered that I now own the word Wakanda. Long story long, my lawyers, their lawyers, we settled on $3.5 million that they paid me to use the word Wakanda. I'm kidding. Or am I? It's called NDA, people. But with that, that's who I am. I'm particularly excited about being here because what we now do, we work in townships and we build community-based businesses. We've got one called Gwalisa. It's a refillery model that allows people to buy food based on the amount of money they have. It's like a game changer. It's growing. Super amazing business. But that has allowed me to work in townships and in communities. And when I see the talent you guys have and the work you are doing, I so wish I can see some of your skill set being repurposed into places like townships where your skill is sorely needed. the impact stuff is, and you know what, it's not even just about impact, because it sounds like CSI or HAM, and you all got up bills to pay, right? The truth of the matter is, what people don't tell you is that there's so much money on the base of the pyramid, because the problems are big, and guess what? The problems are already at scale. If you figure that out, if you figure a solution for a township or a base of the pyramid, you're on a winning streak. You don't have to convince people, because the base is already big enough. Right, so I'm hoping that lands, and with that, I'm going to invite Nick on stage, who's going to be telling us a little bit more about why Corobrik has been involved in this competition for so long. Please, with a round of applause and a warm welcome to Nick.
Thank you, Miles.
Welcome, Nick.
Thanks, my man. Nice
Sure.
intro. Thank
Sure.
you. My staff are laughing at me because apparently I don't often read speeches. I tend to wing it to some degree. But being the 38th Awards and being such a talented group, I actually decided to put some words together. And so forgive me for being not as smooth as usual, because I will be doing some reading. So first of all, Corobrik, we've proudly held these student awards. And as Miles has emphasized and is up on the screen, we've been doing this for 38 years. And the question I'm often asked by members of the profession when we meet outside of these events is, why does Corobrik keep getting involved in this? And quite honestly, after 38 years, this is not just an event, this is an investment. It's an investment not just of money, it's an investment in terms of passion, it's an investment in terms of belief in the profession, and it's an investment into the future of the built environment. And that's why we keep doing it. And we live in a country that has its challenges, there's no doubt. But we also live in a country with massive legacies. And we live in a country that has faced the struggles we have faced as a new nation and to a large degree come through them. And yes, it's not perfect. But I want to remind everybody, you cannot progress a country, you cannot progress a community, you can't progress an organization if you don't come up with new ideas and a sense of innovation. And the most obvious source of innovation is our universities. We have a proud history of our universities in South Africa. And so our universities have the capacity and the abilities to foster the new thinking. And I'd like to think, knowing a lot of you personally, that we have the faculty members who really do enable the passion in the students like we see today, but not only just the winners from the various universities, but all the guys who participate and come through those universities. So well done to the universities. Thank you. But I think the key issue is innovation is also about changing a mindset. And Corobrik really believes that this competition and these awards and the fact that we don't just put certificates to it, we put a lot of money to it as well, helps to create an environment and a motivation that assist in driving the necessary changes that we need in the mindset in South Africa, and particularly in the architectural profession. Now comes the marketing side. So I want to remind everybody, Corobrik is the only brick company that continues to develop new products. The environment we're in right now, everybody's talking price, price, price. But surely, if we want to be innovative, we want to drive the country forward, it can't be just about price. It has to be about the creativity. It has to be about innovation. It has to be about new ideas. And Corobrik is the one company in the building industry that continues to deliver new ideas. And then for those of you who really enjoy the detail, we're the only brick company that really makes the effort around the special shapes that give you that final detail in the buildings. And it's that final detail, that final finish, that I think adds to the legacy of whatever the architects are creating. And it really helps you to complete a vision. We are very proud at Corobrik of our relationship with the architectural profession. It's a relationship we have built over decades. And I can happily say we will continue to invest in those relationships, and we will continue to invest in these awards with the universities. I'd like to remind all of us, particularly the students and all of the architects who are here, that you will have those moments on a project, and the pun is intended, that you run into a brick wall. When you run into that brick wall, when you face that challenge, that moment in time where you just can't get the creative juices to help you through the challenge you're facing, I want to remind you, you have a Corobrik person in your life. And that Corobrik person, and there are a number of them with us today, will happily come and join you in your practice, in your studio, in your offices, and give you a hand. We are the friend that will be there when you don't think you have a friend in the world. Corobrik will be there for you. I'd like to take the opportunity to thank our 3 esteemed judges down there for the hard work they've done over the last 3 days. But what people don't realize is the amount of work you've put in prior to this, going through all the dissertations, etc. And we really thank you for the work you've put in. I'd like to thank the 8 of you. The work you've put in over the last few years to get here today has been, I think, you are here today. And I know it always sounds trite that every one of you is a winner, and it always sounds like that when you say that at one of these. But quite honestly, the fact you're here, you're going to have that certificate, you've won the regional award, you are a winner. Never forget that, and really all the best with your future careers. I'd like to thank the Corobrik marketing team. And if you haven't met them, there are 3 ladies who, particularly with the help of, and you'll see guys with works and black shirts, who have really done a fantastic job of putting this together over the last few months. This is not something that happens overnight. A lot of work goes in. And I want to thank particularly my 3 ladies for the patience they've had with me in particular. I know I've been fairly difficult in the last while, but I appreciate the work you guys have put in. Thank you very much. And then, last but not least, all of you are here today to join us to celebrate what these 8 talented people have delivered. Thank you for being here. To the online presence, thank you for joining us. And from my side, enjoy the rest of the afternoon. Thank you very much.
Another round of applause to Nick. Thank you so much, Nick. Guys, I think as Nick has mentioned, today is a celebration, right? Guys, I see you looking all scared up front. Like he just said, you're already winners. And by the way, please stop WhatsApping me who's the winner. I can't tell you until the end of the day, okay? So I'm going to welcome 2 of the finalists to sit with me on stage. So the people online, the people in the room can get to find out what the judges saw in them. This is like a Dragon's Den type thing, so it's going to be brutal. I'm kidding. The hard stuff is already been done, guys. So I'm going to welcome on stage my first finalist would be Quinton and Tinashe. Please. Welcome, guys. Yeah, it's super cool. So I think my first question is a softball one, we've seen the amazing work, right? But I'm always interested in a backstory. What was the catalyst that said, that made it clear in your mind that you want to be an architect, you want to work in a built environment, you want to change landscape? What was it? Is it your parents, your environment? What was it?
I think my biggest influence are definitely my parents. With my dad having an engineering background and my mom being artistic.
Perfect combination.
It's a combination, and that's basically what architecture is. It's a combination of art and engineering.
Yeah.
And I've always had this interest in building stuff and, making a difference in people's lives. And I think using architecture as the medium to do that, I think it's a big influence on why I am who I am today.
Awesome. What did that be saying?
So I grew up in Zimbabwe in a very...
Is that mic on? Okay.
I grew up in Zimbabwe in a very small town. So I left the town at a very older age, and I was actually surprised to see how the development in other towns, and I was like, why isn't our town like this? And I also sort of probably should be involved in the development of these small towns that are almost neglected. So that was my primary motivation.
And then, you go through university, you study, and I'm sure that was painful. I remember. What was the catalyst then for entering this competition? Because now we know why you entered into the field, but why did you enter this competition? And how was it?
So I think last year we had a subject where we explored different materials, and I had that original idea of making a composite material using a plant. And I was originally
Using
looking
a
at
what?
a plant. So my project is based in the Hartbeespoort Dam, focusing on the water hyacinth. And the idea of using this plant to perhaps make a material, I've looked at bioconcrete, for instance. And that influenced the idea, and because of all the influence and the guidance from my lecturers, it turned into what it is today.
Okay. And how did you meet? And was it the same reason why you entered?
So for me, it was there is a lot of beautiful landscapes that we found in Africa, and I've always thought that architecture is actually the potential to sort of celebrate these landscapes. So that was my passion, so that we can actually celebrate our African landscapes also through architecture.
And as a parting question, do you think having gone through this process and gone through conceptualization, building the thing, has it made you look at the business of architecture differently, or is it still, you still have the rose-tinted glasses on?
I think there's still a lot to learn. We're only entering the profession now, so we're only at the start, the base of the pyramid.
Yes.
So yeah, no, I think there's still a lot to learn.
It's almost pretty much the same, but you also get to a point where you think that you actually have to do nothing. You almost want to give up, but then you continue to believe in what you want to do, and then you just follow it up and see how it goes.
Yeah, but maybe just double click on that. Were the times where you were pulling each other's hair out? It was like, how was that? You know, because you look so polished now, you speak so calmly, you know, and I know I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm always looking at the tip, and I understand underneath of the iceberg is, you know.
Yeah, I think only architects know what we go through during the studies. And I think if we talk about that, some mental hospital might come and pick us up.
I think you pretty much get used to it, that it doesn't shake you anymore. It's what we do, and we have to do it all our lives. So you just have to be okay with it.
Well, to our first set of finalists, ladies and gentlemen, let's please give Quentin and Tinashe a round of applause. Well done, guys. Well done. Cool. So we keep this moving. And our second panelist, please join me on stage, and that's Tammy and Shahil. Welcome, guys, to the podcast. Yes, the dragon couch. I'm not that bad, am I?
Yeah, it's good.
It's cool, right? Yeah. Thank you. You know, pulling out the compliments on my behalf. So, welcome, and perhaps maybe in a similar vein, just so that audience get a context as to why you started this. Was there someone in your respective families? I know Tavi's story is rather nuanced and slightly different, but yeah, maybe you begin and just tell us how it all began for you.
Okay, cool. So, architecture for me started becoming a passion at a very young age. My grandfather was a bricklayer, and when I used to watch him come home from work every day, and he used to teach me
Durban,
about...
right?
Yes, in Durban,
Yeah.
So then he used to teach me about building a wall and constructing a wall, and it really intrigued me to basically understand that you as an architect have the ability to paint your picture or leave your identity on the biggest landscape canvas possible. And through him, he gave me the motivation to sort of develop this idea of becoming something just through a brick, you know. And as architects, we don't just create a space, we create a place, because it develops a memory, it evokes an emotion, and that impacts people no matter where you go. You're always in a building. You're always interacting with something. And for me, architecture is something that I love doing. It's my passion, and I'll never ever choose anything else. So, yeah.
Oh, that's super cool. Tammy, and I know you've got also an interesting journey. So how did it begin for you?
My dad is also a builder, actually, or he's in the building industry. So I did kind of grow up in that world, but I only started architecture school when I was 38.
Say what?
When I was 38.
That's
I
super
went to
impressive.
Wits.
I mean, I think kahunas, they say. That's super impressive. Wasn't that daunting or scary? Like, you know?
It wasn't very daunting. I thought I was just going to go to Wits, put my head down, do my work, not make any friends, and get on with the job.
And how did
then
that
go
work
home
out?
to my family. No, I made a few friends, so that was nice.
You said to me it was super fun. You had a
Yeah,
great
I
time
did. I
there,
had a
more than you
wonderful time.
expected.
I'm a Witsy for life.
Yeah, damn straight. Same here. Yeah. I happened to walk in while you guys were pitching to yourselves, which was a super interesting thing because the finalists obviously had an extended time with the judges and they pitched their projects. But when I came in this morning, they were pitching to themselves because obviously they don't know each other's projects. So it was super interesting to watch that. So I got to hear a little bit about what you're working on. And I was intrigued as to, that's a very impact space. And as you can tell, I'm very, why, maybe tell the audience a little bit what it is and why you went into that particular space.
Okay, cool. So my project basically is architecture as a response to the empowerment of waste pickers. And it is towards the design of a recycling and upcycling center. It was a really humbling experience doing the research for this typology, working with different nonprofit organizations and understanding the role of the waste picker in cities, especially in Durban. It's alarming to know that the waste that's in our cities basically go into landfill dumps and they don't transgress into something that is positive. And here comes these waste pickers who's just taking this as an opportunity to earn a basic living. And with that being said, because of them, only 10% of the waste that is collected in Durban gets recycled. And that's an alarming fact because the amount of waste that is generated by just the site that I chose alone was colossal. Like you cannot express how much of waste. Even when I did the walk around the site, I was completely in disbelief to see how much of waste is being thrown around and not used to its full potential. So by enabling the waste pickers and giving them a platform to be integrated into a city and the city waste management systems allows for the empowerment of these people because they actually play a vital role in the recycling and the upcycling industry, but they very much not recognized for their efforts. So yeah, that's basically a gist of my project. Yeah.
Thank you. Super cool. I think that's just a nice one. And Temi, I also happened to just catch a little bit about your project, and it's also impact, but more climate, I guess. Maybe just a quick summary for the audience as to what you're working on.
My project is based in the Karoo in Prince Albert, and it's not so much about climate, but it's a response to the climate change issues. And it's a biodiversity research station, and essentially a lot of architecture prioritizes human participants, but my project also prioritizes the land and the creatures on the land. It assumes that the environment should be an equal protagonist in the design process, not just a place to put a building.
Wow. Again, I think that's some deep stuff there. But just maybe as a parting shot, your respective journeys in going through the competition, was it frustrating? What were the things you were expecting to be easy and it turned out to be difficult? And basically, what did you learn? How was the experience for you in actually making something based on it.
Are you talking about just the competition or the whole Masters? Yeah.
No, and this I'm specifically speaking about
Of
the
competition.
Corobrik competition. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So it was really amazing. Hospitality was absolutely off the roof. I mean, we just have to thank the Corobrik
No, they've
team.
already decided who's the winner.
No, no. I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
I'm also just saying. You know, just like, but,
yeah.
I feel you.
No, it's really been an amazing experience, and I'm sure each and every one of us can agree on that. I mean, we've gotten to meet each other and understand different ways in which people think, and that for me was the most intriguing part, because that's why we did what we did this morning, because when you look at a picture, you look at a drawing, you don't really understand it from the person's perspective. But when they explain it to you, then you get to understand, oh, that's the reason why it's that way, or that shape, or that size. So it became a humbling experience to see how different people think and implement architecture, and that's just wonderful. So, yeah.
Very cool. Tammy?
Yeah, so I think being chosen as our respective university winners is already a privilege. And then to be here together, the 8 of us, and to experience each other's work, and yeah, just to be immersed in this kind of 3 and 4 day Corobrik experience has been amazing. And I think all of us feel very lucky to be here.
Oh, that's super cool. And I wish you nothing but success to the both of you. And I think Nick mentioned it earlier, like everybody here is already a winner. And I do hope you stay in contact, because these are the relationships you make that will serve you in good stead in the future. So thank you very much, guys. Appreciate
Thank you.
it.
Thanks, Miles.
Thank you. Was it so painful, Tammy? Was it so painful? Guys, we're keeping this rolling. Everybody still with us? Cool? Happiness? Awesome. So our next finalists to join us on stage is Tapelo and Amogelang. Amogelang, sorry, my bad. Welcome, guys.
Thank you, Mas.
Sweet. Yeah. So I think, again, it's only fair that you just give people a bit of a snippet as your backstory, where you come from, and why you decided to go down this path of architecture.
So I'm from the coastal town of Port Elizabeth, and yeah, I think it's an interesting story for me. I was 6 years old, came back from school, and I was asked, what do I want to be when I grow up? And I told my mom, I said to Mom, I want to be an architect. And she was like, you don't know how to read. You know, how do you know what an
Small
architect
detail.
How do you know what an architect is? And I couldn't tell you like what made me want to become an architect, but I just said it, and you know, it almost manifested into the universe. And you know, obviously, as you go through school and applying for universities, I think I applied to probably a lot of universities, and I only had one option, and it was architecture. And my mom asked me, what about the second option? You know, something to fall onto. And I told her there isn't anything to fall onto. It's either architecture or nothing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sure. That's the power of manifesting things, right? Yeah. So that's a super cool story.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have like nice stories, but I have a bit of a very complicated one. So I think the reason why I chose to do architecture was when I was in primary school in grade 2, my mother used to teach at that school. So we were singing in the choir, so the person next to me used to sing very bad, so she thought it was me. So she actually chased me out of the choir. So at an older age, I joined my church choir, and I actually became one of the best singers in the church choir. So,
Oh, wow.
so
I mean, you're now tempting us. Is it?
I could sing a verse, but
Oh,
I mean, I don't,
hey, hey, I
And
mean,
then-
you got the mic, you're on stage. These opportunities.
Yeah. So then in high school, my father was a principal, so he wanted me to be a civil engineer, right? So when I was sending in my application forms to apply for universities, I actually wrote architect for my applications, and all the other applications that he saw that I wrote civil engineer, I didn't actually send through. So yeah, I actually wanted to do something creative. So I wanted to do something that I can use my hands, something that I can apply my mind to, and actually see my dreams come into life as well. So I think, yeah, my story of choosing architecture was...
I think they're both great stories, if you ask me. Well done, guys. So again, maybe just a quick snippet about your projects, and the reason for me is important is the why. You know, so maybe a little bit on your...
I think I'd start with the why. You know.
Yeah.
I think comfortability breeds normality. My project is like it talks about uncomfortability, you know, talks about the history of South Africa, the whole Forced Removals and Group Areas Act, and I was focused in the town. Well, I was interested in the segregation and integration in both in architecture and the South African context, and I looked at the town of South End in Port Elizabeth, which is probably where everything started in Port Elizabeth, and it was a vibrant town of diverse races, and well, with the implementation of freeway structures through the Group Areas Act, a lot of people, especially people of color, got displaced into different areas of Port Elizabeth. And my sort of solution was to bring it back, but not just as a building, but as a, an evocative, almost uncomfortable setting, in architecture. And I think that's how I want to see architecture. I think what I saw with every one of us is that through the projects, I see myself as more of a servant, as more of a servant than an architect. I'm a mediator between man and matter. So it's how do I create narrative through uncomfortability, especially in the South African context.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
Brave, too. Well done. Yeah.
The why, I think from my side is people matter. Like it's very important that people know that the work that we do, the research that we do, it's important and it matters. So I actually sit around and listen to how people perceive us as architects, and they think that, okay, we are plan drawers, and we do not value the things that the inputs that they provide to us. So the why is that people matter. When you engage with people, they impart new knowledge in anything and everything that we do, and it's always important to continue in learning and opening up to take up those things so that the things that you give out will be the best version of what they had imparted into you. So my project looked at how people make ground and occupy water. As it had this poetry about how a quote from one of the texts that I read about how somebody was actually saying that we learn to swim in our backyards. And you ask that question, how do people learn to swim in their backyards? So these things that we think are not normal, but if we immerse ourselves in learning how these people actually continue to navigate these things, they actually provide valuable lessons. And it's lessons that when we take forward, we actually provide things that are more sensible, that actually talk to the experiences that they have experienced.
I think I'm a closet architect, right? And maybe that's why I ended up being an entrepreneur, because creativity presents itself in whatever format. So I love creatives. I love people who create. And one of the things I'm super passionate about is just that design. There's no bad design. There's just a bad brief. In other words, because I've seen when design is utilized, really good design, even for an objectively bad thing, that design sticks because it was well understood, and the person who did it with understanding to its environment or its intended purpose, to a point that when you want to change it or remove it, it's so stuck and ingrained into the system that you can't take it out. And that's why I say there's no good or bad design. It's just the result is, based on the bad brief. Would you agree or disagree with this view?
I think, yeah, I'd agree, in a nutshell.
So it's good. It's just bad projects.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think I find beauty in anything, There's always beauty in the ugly, to me. I don't tend to see, a project. I don't tend to see a project or the bad sides of a project. There's a story to why it's bad, Especially like with my one as well.
Yeah.
A town in almost a landscape in ruin. I saw the beauty in it. I saw something emerge from it, and I just worked with that, and that's why I think, I don't see the bad in architecture.
Cool.
Yo, I don't know how to answer that one, to be honest, because I think we talked about something similar last night. But can I please be in the middle on this one?
You're taking the fifth. Clearly, you have a view. But guys, I also just want to hear your, as an exiting point, just how you found the experience of entering the competition, the things you've learned that you didn't think you were going to learn. Just how was your overall experience?
I've always seen myself as a very, not necessarily idiosyncratic, individual. I'm really in my head, and I'm very imaginative, very creative, and I think seeing, 7 people that are similar to me almost makes me think that, listen, you're not alone,
Yeah.
You
have a tribe.
Yes. And I think, going forward into the working world, I'd hope that we don't conform to the norm. We show our personalities in architecture and, change the world,
Amen.
even by its slightest.
Again, I think that deserves a round of applause.
So I've, with my year, I've heard this phrase so many times, trust the process. So trust the process. So what I did, I trusted the process, and I worked, and I worked, and I trusted the process. Where I failed, I continued to work, and I worked even harder. So I trusted the process, right? And the hard work that I gave in to trusting the process, I believe is actually what got me here. And I'll continue trusting the process as well, and I'll continue giving my all in everything that I do in the architectural field.
Wow. Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate you. I'll hold you to the changing the world stuff, right? Awesome. And I think we are on to our last 2 finalists. If they can join me on stage, Michael and Shannon. Come on, guys, energy. Welcome.
Thank you.
Last but certainly not least, maybe we can start with you, Shannon. Can you just tell us your backstory, how it all started, and yeah.
It's very boring.
Let us be the judge.
I actually didn't want to become an architect at all.
Please put your mic closer.
So I didn't want to become an architect at all.
No?
Didn't think about it. Wasn't a thought in my mind. I actually studied engineering for 2 years.
Uh-huh.
And then one day thought, this is really not it. And then walked a stroll to the architecture department, saw the crazy things that they were doing, and was very, very curious. So asked about it, and then ended up falling in love with it.
Wow.
So that is the story.
And how did you tell your parents this story? It's like,
It wasn't
Mom.
easy.
I can imagine.
No.
And then you transferred to architecture.
Yeah. But I think there was always a background in liking the things in engineering that facilitated making and doing and creating. So that sparked something better when I took that stroll to the Department of Architecture.
And now that you're on this other side of it, you think it was the best decision?
They say I've come from the dark side.
So you've seen the light, have you? Okay, cool. Michael?
I think for me, it started as well, like with my dad. He was a civil engineer, so I always wanted to be like my dad, always following his footsteps. But when I saw what civil engineering is, full of maths and physics, and I was like,
And how many bridges can we
yeah,
have?
how much
really?
bridges do we need, really? Yeah, so I went to the alternate of that, and I started with architecture. I really didn't actually know what was in store for it, but I just felt drawn to it, because with architecture, I knew that it's a lot of problem solving, and as a child, I really loved to solve a problem and to create new ideas and to try new things as well. So I think it was the next stepping stone in my career, I think, or future after matric as well, because after matric also there wasn't a clue what was going to happen, but I think everything lined up well to what it was supposed to be. And I think what architecture now is like something that's very close to me, because I really enjoy it, and architecture has been a way to cross bridges, in some words, to what my dad does, but to what I think I should be doing, like almost a meeting point to that, yeah.
Cool. And maybe you can also both just quickly tell us briefly as to what your projects are and why you went the way you did. Maybe you can start. Yeah.
Okay, so at first I must say why, because I'm from Kimberley, so I'm a Weister. So my project is based in Kimberley. It's based off of the Big Hole. So my project tackles the difficult question of who built or who dug the Big Hole, and to focus more on that, and to focus on where they were housed and the exploitations and the difficulties that they endured. So focusing...
You mean the actual workers? Or
yeah, focusing on the black migrant laborers that dug the Big Hole. So taking a look at them, because within the broader context of Kimberley, we all know it's just about the diamonds, and within the Big Hole Museum as well, there's just a little plaque that's in the corner that just says to commemorate the diggers. So within my thesis, I tried to commemorate them, and the title of my thesis is Black Oblivion, which basically just means that it's a forgetful nature, and we are not remembering them in the way that we're supposed to. We're not acknowledging them. So I tried to create a sense of remembrance to this project. And for people, like a lot of people in Kimberley themselves don't know about it, don't know that closed compounds were originally started in Kimberley, and from there onwards was a catalyst for the segregation and the apartheid system. So it's a thing that should be known, and it's a thing that's not acknowledged enough in Kimberley.
Yeah, I only discovered today that those 4-room houses, Peter was telling me, they're 56 stroke 9. There's a number for those houses because of how they were built. It was like something that all townships have. I would have never known that there's actually a demarcation for that. It's super interesting.
It's such a normality that you think it should be like that. So it's a thing that the moment it becomes aware to you, you become unoblivious, I guess.
And I think it speaks to that earlier point I was making in the previous session, was that that's design, right? Good or bad.
Yeah.
If it meets the brief, it's good design, I guess.
Yeah.
What was your project, or what is your project on?
So my project is based in Ishowe, Zululand. And the idea of the project is that it's trying to connect this history of Zululand together with the making that occurred in Zululand, with all the different cultures that are there. Because it's not just a Zulu culture, it's also a Norwegian culture, and it's also the English culture, and all of these that work together to form something. So that place actually has the biggest display of Zulu pottery and wicker baskets in the world, right there. So it's an idea of thinking about how does that making influence our building? Can I, as an architect, be influenced by the pot maker or the basket weaver to understand something differently? And in that site, they speak of craftsmanship so confidently, as if they can build anything out of any shape. So if I can learn from that, that's probably the best place to do it. So the whole idea of it is that maybe craftsmanship is all these hands that put the process together, not just the architect.
And I mean, because you've gone through a whole education system, are you finding that the education system is still rooted in the traditional European ways of looking at architecture, and it's not necessarily bringing in, I suppose, native or indigenous ways of looking at design?
So this project challenges the idea of how we should investigate thinking about architecture here in the South African context, because we have so much of diversity. So why should we do something similar to whatever's happening in some other country? Also, the way the academic side helped influence this thinking is, how could we introduce different technological approaches to this, so that maybe we can learn from each other and cross-bridge these different indigenous cultures to like a high-tech thing or a low-tech thing. It's to know that we can create that space to learn from each other, but we have to just facilitate it.
And I think as a parting shot then to the both of you, you know, climate is increasingly becoming something you need to contend with, right? Are you starting to think about how the future built environment is going to, you know, be climate proof? In fact, I was at a climate conference in New York the other time, and it was super interesting because they're always looking at Africa and saying, oh, they're going to be the ones who are going to be impacted by climate first and all of that, which is true, I think, to some degree. But I'm sitting in there, you know, it's the same rooms with the same people talking about the same thing to themselves, kind of thing. So what was interesting for me, though, was when you really think about it, we're on the 62nd floor in New York. I'm thinking, if climate becomes an issue, there's no electricity or whatever, yeah, it's going to be tough to get water up here or go downstairs to get light, you know, and because it's so vertically built. As much as, and I think from a continent or a region, I think we're a little bit more resilient. We know how to make a plan, you know. So how are you looking at that? How are you thinking about climate proofing, the stuff you work on?
I think it's really important, like you said, to look locally so we can make any kind of global impact.
Right.
So specifically in my project, the idea was to look at local materials and locally sourced techniques of building, because it is only in that way and the way these people understand the material that it reacts to the environment around it.
That's a fair point.
So for example, the Zulu wicker basket has so many waterproofing qualities in it alone that we don't understand because we haven't tapped into that knowledge that exists there. So
super cool.
It's just like, I think the best way to be global is to be local.
Nice one. Nice one.
I think my project is very industrial, so I'm not too sure, but I agree with Shannon, like using the local knowledge of the design and architecture, because there's a way of how they do it that works, and to change that is not always the best decision. So like the way that they do things is not wrong or not right per se, but I think it's what the region needs, and just that adaptability that you have to change with the times and go with the gears and to change with the place, I think is quite impactful for the design. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I think spot on. I think, guys, I can't thank you enough. Super cool projects. I looked at and I listened to your pitch as well. I wish you nothing but success and Godspeed. So, congratulations. Thank you so much. Cool. The people I forgot to thank earlier, the judges as the stakeholders, I would like them to please join me on stage to look at the same conversation from the different side. So, thank you. So while the judges are joining us, I would like to say again, thank you so much to the finalists. Amazing projects. I think everybody can agree that we've got an amazing pipeline of talent in this country and ultimately the world. So I hope to be reading about your successes in the near future. So congratulations once more. Yay, the judges! How are you guys?
I've never been better.
Pretty good. Wow. I think that sentiment comes from the long slog of judging and putting in the time and the effort to look at so many amazing projects. How has it been? I'm not sure who wants to feel the... Well, I'm opening it up to everybody. Yeah. Maybe firstly introduce yourselves and then, yeah.
I'm John Wilson Harris. I'm an architect. I'm from Cape Town. For me, it's been an amazing experience, and I always enjoy interacting and working with students. I think it's always something I learn from students all the time. That's one of the main things for me, that there's this kind of energy and passion that these guys have put out. And and everything's very varied as well. Nothing is the same. There's all these 8 projects were totally different from each other. I think that the work to do the judging was a really good experience. I've gained some good friends here, and some good friends here as well. We've spent some time together. And it's been a real pleasure to be part of this Corobrik Awards.
Thank you.
Thank you, Miles. My name is Donette Werkman. I am just an architect. Not academic. I'm nothing else. I'm just... so I think that is actually where the privilege lies in for me. Being an architect in the industry over 20 years and just slogging by every day, it becomes more and more of a challenge to challenge yourself. So I think the past 2 years has been a real yes time for me, and this was just something that I said yes to, and it's been wonderful. Such a growth opportunity for me. So thank you guys. I think I did personally thank you, each one of you, in your presentations of what you gave me. And apart from that, you're most likely going to offer me a job in future. Just remember my name, you know, it's fine. I'm willing to come and work for you because you're all excellent. And I think I was the coolest judge. I just want to clear it. Yeah, so.
Well, there you go. How you follow that,
I know which judge I am. My name is Vedant Maharaj. I'm also an architect. I think
and a previous winner, if I'm not mistaken.
And a previous
2014,
winner.
if I'm not mistaken.
Wukiki.
No,
2015, 16. It was 9 years ago.
Okay.
9 years ago. Yeah. 29. Awards 29. I found it's been a real privilege to, I think, on a personal level, to close a circle, to participate in coming in from the other side. It was really enlightening to see all these students producing very conscious projects.
Right?
Yeah, and they were also, and each of them quite different. And I think architecture for a few years, I think with COVID and things, struggled a lot. I think the academic environment struggled a lot. The quality of projects started to deep dive, if you ask me. But there's this resurgence of care that's come in, and craft that's come in, and being very technically proficient that's come in. And we found that with all of the projects in their own ways, but that the common denominator, whether they were technically inclined or whether they were environmentally inclined, was that they were very gentle to people. They embraced every single scale of building that was there. Every typology was so sensitive to people or the participants of their projects being really considered. And I think that gives it a lot of hope for the future of what architecture is going to be.
And just maybe a quick follow-up question on that, because you were a participant 9 years ago. From what you've seen to what you produced back then, are you seeing like leaps and bounds, or?
Sure, that's so tough, eh?
Because in one way you are selling yourself short, in another.
I think it's different. I don't know how. We struggle to judge 8 projects that are here in the same room at the same
Fair
time
enough.
because of their differences. I think, if I looked at the projects that we had produced in the year that I was in the competition, all I can say is that it's not really about the project now. It's kind of about what you do with the information that you have. And I guess the hopeful thing for me about these projects is their attention to like a gentleness of existing as buildings that need to be responsible. I think we also had a similar kind of mindset then, so I think it feels like it's something that's come back. But what I can say is that this kind of competition unlocks a lot of things for you or for the students. Because the people who are with me in Corobrik, all of us are doing something very interesting right now. There are people who have their own firms and their own way of thinking and who are pushing different kinds of boundaries. And we meet each other at other awards now. And I think that's the thing, is there's this pursuit of excellence as a group that you can achieve too. So,
That's
I'm not sure. I don't know how to
I think
gauge
you
whether it was
answered it
better
well.
or worse.
Yeah.
But
No,
yeah,
thank you.
but these projects were very, very mature in their development. Yeah.
And John, from what you've seen and having spent time, what blew you away? What was sort of not what you were expecting, and it was like left?
Good hands, and I'm, for one, very excited about working for you. Thank you.
She keeps pitching that. So I think as a parting shot, judges, you've been in the industry, you've been doing this, right? And it's real. You got to deal with the practicalities of things, like you were just saying, the parking regulations and so forth. What are the parting words of inspiration, perhaps, that we can give to the finalists as they begin their journey? The work for the man.
Shall I tell them now, but
I told them everything
can I
last
say
night.
it now?
No, you can't.
Okay, so I need to tell this story real quick. So on the not opening evening, the evening that we arrived as judges and met with Nick and Ockert, I had a bottle of wine sponsored by Corobrik to me, and I said, you know what, I'm just going to tell them it's a horrible job. And Verdant was...
What, being an architect, you mean?
Yes, obviously. I'm like, you're never going to have money. You're never going to, And Verdant was like, Danae, you cannot do this. I'm like, okay, Verdant, I'll say it on day 3.
Well...
You almost got there without saying it, but then you said it to everybody. My parting thing, I think maybe it's also part of an insight of coming full circle, is that this architecture has always had an association with an ego. You always build your building, you're the ego, you're the architect, it's your idea. We've had so many of those versions given to us in stories in the world, whether it's like the Fountainhead, where it's all about the person. And what it's actually about, I've realized coming through this process, is that it's actually about a community. And with Corobrik being part of that community, I'm not getting paid to be nice to Corobrik, I promise. But what I can tell you as it's a very warm story about this is that Thilo, who's over there, Don't know, the camera didn't move. Thilo has done almost all of the Corobrik competitions. And she did mine. And I was there, and I was this kid who didn't want to eat because I was obsessed about pinning up the right way. And Thilo brought me food, and there's this care that I think genuinely comes from a community around you. Corobrik is part of that community, and I've seen the same thing that I saw 9 years ago of this care that they put towards students, and it's done every year for 38 years. It's done. It still keeps architecture like a bit. It keeps it relevant. It keeps this this idea of the competition as an exciting thing. And that's like part of the community, you know. It's those people who like put a lot of care into it, and I'm sure all the students experience the same thing. I watched them experience it, and it was just like so warming to see that, because it's not just about whether the company or Thilo herself likes the students. They all get mollycoddled and they get pampered and treated nicely and eat delicious meals and have great wine, and you know, and it's nice to see that spirit stays. But it is really about that, and I think there's these people who have given back or who are giving something to you. You need to do that back for other people. There are other people in here who I've also seen, like my own supervisor Kiki. She's over there, and she was with me through the process. And now I can go and, you know, Kiki asked me to come and examine for her. I even saw Dion van der Westhuizen, who was someone else there's his from NMMU. There's his lecturer there. And it's the cycle, like the people that stay and teach. You guys need to become those people who stay and pay it forward because you've been given a platform and an opportunity. So yeah, I hope you guys take the reward and the privilege and really like use it to do something cool.
Awesome. Nice one.
So I think as my parting shot to you guys is that the fact that you're talented people. You aren't here just because it's a one-off. You're actually here because you've developed the skills that you presented to us here. And you've got to take that forward and work with it. And you've really got a big step in front of others because you have this special talent. So good luck to you guys.
The final
I pull it
one.
back.
Yeah.
So I pull back my words. What I want to give to each one of you is that keep on translating. I think that is what I saw in each one of you, that you are able to speak a language that the general public is not able to speak. You are able to translate people into spaces, and that is a gift. Celebrate it, enjoy it. It's not all bad, it's only poverty.
That's why you want to get the job from them. And to our judges, thank you for the hard work, the sacrifice, the time. I've seen the packs that you had to read through. Sure, yeah. And we appreciate you, and I hope you've also taken some of the lessons that you saw from the innovation when people have a blank canvas, and you take those and implement in your respective practices. So with that, I'd like to say thank you very much on behalf of Corobrik. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So, guys, the talk shop is almost over. I know, I guess these are kind of like, when is this getting over so we can get to the meat of the thing? We are almost there, can I show you? So, I'm not going to take up more time because, like I said, you probably just want to get your prize and celebrate. So, I'm going to invite the man who stands between that happening, Peter, on stage to come and tell us a little bit about why Corobrik continues to put effort in this, but more importantly, start announcing the finalists. We'll start with the finalists, and then the final winner will also be announced by Peter. Maybe. So
51/9 is the house.
51/9. That's the original RTPs, if you know what I mean. Cool. With that, Peter.
Right. Thank you. Well, good afternoon, everybody, and personally, on behalf of Corobrik, I again welcome you to this event, and I thank the people that have put such an effort into organizing it. Welcome to the students. Bright bunch. You know, Miles said I've been involved for 38 years on different levels in this competition, and that might sound sad and boring, but it's actually been a privilege and a pleasure to do it, and it's amazing over those years how the students have developed. Some of you have also been around a long time, and you've been around as long as I have, I think, on these projects. And in the beginning of the competition, some of the students' projects were bizarre, maybe irresponsible even, but very creative. What I've seen over the years is the students have matured, and the projects that they do now, I think, have a lot more thought and are a lot more practical than what we saw in the beginning. And I'm not an architect, and I'm not a judge in the competition, but it is nice to see how the students have progressed and developed. And I guess that's the universities helping them and greater intellect, perhaps from the students, or more effort put in by the students. So Corobrik is very happy to continue sponsoring this and to continue nurturing this in the architectural profession. And bricks are local. So if you need local, Corobrik is just around the corner. It's going to be my privilege this afternoon, and also one of the pleasant things that I do in my job is to hand out the winners' awards and the money that goes with that, of course, which I guess is important. But before we do that, we're going to ask all the students to come up and receive their certificates as being finalists in this year's competition. So, Miles, are you going to help me with this?
I will, definitely. So, we will start from the end.
And if I'm going to ask you to come up and...
So, Quentin Bezedenote, please join us on stage.
Look, Minya. Just move. Oh, just the two? Thank you. You just stand over there. We'll get you in.
Okay. And Tinashe Mazivera, please join us on stage.
Congratulations, well done. And good luck with your career going forward. Thank you. Going to stay up, or you're going to sit down? Okay.
And Shahil Singh, please join us on stage.
Cheers, mate. Well done. Good luck with it, huh? Let's have a smile. Good.
And then Temi Olsen Define.
Congratulations, well done.
Tapelo Daus.
Well done, man. Good luck with your career. Huh?
Amugelang Masilela.
Cheers, eh? Well done. Good luck with your career. Eh?
And Michael Kloot.
Yeah, I would have thought so, yeah. Cheers, eh? Good luck with your career. Huh?
Shannon Rees Govender.
Well done and good luck with your career. Eh? Can I come up? Thank you.
Yeah.
So congratulations to all of you guys, and I hope that, as we've seen in the past, this competition has certainly catapulted winners' careers, and we've seen them over the years, and of course there have been many over the 38 years. Some of them spread all around the world, running big practices and doing exceptionally well, and I hope that this, in one way or another, catapults your career to great heights. Now, one of the rules of the competition is there can only be one winner. regardless of how good all the others are, there's only one person who wins. But this year, I don't think there was the courage to say we're going to have one winner because the projects are so good that they've asked if we can have 2 commendations. And it's my pleasure to give out those commendations. And the first one goes with a prize of 10,000 Rand to Tapilo. Good, well done, eh? Enjoy the money. Cheers, my boy. I'm never sure with the money whether we should give it to the parents, the sponsors, the girlfriends, but in the days gone by, we used to be able to hand out a check and then make sure it went to the parents. Now I can't do that, it's all electronic. But well done to you. And the second commendation to the University of Pretoria goes to Shannon. Well done again.
Take that. Fame and fortune. Congratulations.
Thank you. Good luck. Step down carefully. Yep. So back to the basic rule of only one winner. And the winner this year was the Corobrik 2004 Student Architect of the Year and a prize of 70,000 Rand that goes with it to Tammy. Well done. Okay. That also goes with it. Go watch it in the middle. Thank you. Well done, eh?
Well done.
So well done again to our participants, and thank you for participating in the competition. Enjoy the afternoon, and I look forward to seeing you at the 39th Corobrik Awards. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody. Thanks, Peter and Nick. And most importantly, congratulations, guys. Well done. I mean, and Tammy, you were so nervous. Look at you now. Winner! You know, congratulations. Congratulations and the commendations as well. Well done, guys. It's the beginning. It's the beginning part of your journey, which reminds me of a story. Like I've been raised by a single parent, so you know, when I started Voyos, a lot of people came up to me and said, "Dude, I saw the same advert. I actually maybe even wanted to do what you did, but I didn't." I got asked this question so many times as to why did I do something about this when clearly everybody had exactly the same amount of information. Some even wanted to do it, but didn't, and I did. And I started asking myself, Maravele, why did I do something about it? And the only logical conclusion I've come up with to date is that as long as I can remember, my mother's always said to me, don't be an also-ran in life. If 5,000 people set out to run a marathon, 4,999 of them serve to legitimize the winner. They are there so that there's a number one. She said, go out and change the world. Stand for something. Be somebody. And I remember thinking to myself, lay off me, woman. I'm only 3 years old. But I guess it was that sense of purpose, right? And, you know, it turns out, as I've learned in my journey, is that 90% of success is just showing up. You guys showed up. There's a lot of people, exactly the same information, same opportunity, didn't show up. And with you showing up, it's led to this, and I think we can all agree that they deserve another round of applause. Because it's your day, man. Well done, guys. Super proud of you. And congratulations and Godspeed. I'd like to say, again, thank you to Corobrik for pushing on. You heard the commitment. There is number 39. It was on stage. He said it live, and our guest online heard that too. So if you are sitting at home considering it, you know, you could be here next year. So to the guys online, please take up the opportunity, and thank you for also joining us and staying the course. I'd like to again thank the universities as partners, and most importantly, the judges that went through the hard yards with us. Thank you very much. I'd like to also thank the team, the AV team. You know, everything, including the load shedding, went without a glitch. So thanks to the team and all the background stuff that you never get to see. I call them the ninjas. You feel their impact, but you never see them. So thanks to them. And obviously, I'd be remiss if I didn't thank your respective family members. I think, you know, the tax, I was going to say black tax, but it's a tax regardless of what race you are. You're going to be paying it back now. So with that, the afternoon is officially closed, but there's food, there's drinks. Well, for the people who are here, the guys online, Uber Eats is your deal. So with that, guys, thank you so much. I'm Miles Kupek. I hope you enjoy the rest of the afternoon. The drinks and the food is on this side. The bathrooms are also that side. There's no smoking because that's for 20... Anyway, I'm not going to finish that sentence with that. I'm just going to say thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Congratulations, guys.